dashboard is available to both supervisors and operators. On the dashboard, you will see a list of all of the clients that are registered to your account. You will see the client's name, what city they are in, the number of open and closed contracts for that client, how many total cycles are assigned to that client, and how many of those cycles are currently active. Members with role level supervisor or higher will also be able to create a new client, edit existing clients, and delete existing clients. Click on the Enter button next to the client name to view all of the contracts assigned to that client. Here you can see all of the contracts. You can see the name of the contract start and end date, and which client this contract is assigned to. You can use the tabs at the top of the screen to switch between looking over all of the open contracts and all of the closed contracts. Contracts will automatically move to the Close tab once the end date has been reached. Overview will show you all of the cycles across all of the contracts for that client. You can view all of the cycles for a single contract by clicking on the Enter button next to that contract. Members with role level supervisor or higher will also be able to create new contracts, edit existing contracts, and delete existing contracts. To view charts, cycles, or download packages, click the Enter button next to the contract. Here, you can view all of the cycles and screens. You can use the three tabs at the top of the page to switch between inactive cycles, active cycles, and completed cycles. The inactive tab is where cycles are created and stored before being used. You can activate any cycle you want by clicking on the green Activate button next to the cycle. This will move the cycle from the inactive tab to the active tab. You can click on the View Attachments button to view or upload any attachments linked to that cycle. You can click on the Open Report button to adjust the settings for the final report of that cycle. We will talk about reports in another video. You can edit a cycle at any time by clicking on the Edit button next to the cycle you wish to edit. You can edit the cycle name, the start date and time, the end date and time, and the client, contract, and screen assignment. Below that, you can edit the channel and TC selection for the cycle. You can also move a cycle between inactive, active, and completed by clicking on the boxes at the top of the screen. Be sure to click the Save button at the bottom right to make sure that the changes are saved and applied. Members with role level supervisor or higher will also be able to delete a cycle by clicking on the Delete button next to the cycle. In the Active tab, you will see all of the active cycles and screens. From here, you can control the cycles using the Play, Pause, and Stop buttons. You can see the highest channel temperature for that cycle and the lowest channel temperature for that cycle. You can see the current set point for that cycle. You can see the maximum power output of the channels in that cycle and the minimum power output of the channels in that cycle. The S column tells you what current step number the cycle is on. The T column tells you how many minutes are left in that current step. If the cycle is set to preheat, then the S column will just show pH. Finally, you can see the highest state of all of the channels in that cycle. When the state is blue, the channel is stopped and ready to start. When the state is orange, the channel is paused. When the state is red, the channel is faulted. When the state is green, the channel is running. A colored box will appear around the highest temperature value when it reaches 15 degrees or more above the set point, and the lowest temperature value when it reaches 15 degrees or more below the set point. Screens are tabs in your browser that you can place cycles into. You can add a new cycle or a new screen by clicking on the Add New Cycle button or the Add Screen button. When you create a new screen, you'll be asked to give the screen a name, and the contract assignment will be auto-filled for you. When you are done, click on the Create button in the bottom right. Once you have created a new screen, it will appear in the Active tab of the contract you assigned it to. When you are creating a new cycle, you will have to name the cycle. You can then assign the cycle to a client and assign the cycle to a contract. Below, there is a list of all of the channels and TCs that are added to the cycle. You select which controller, which channel, and which thermocouple will be running on the new cycle. If you have a large number of controllers to pick from, there is a search bar at the top to help you easily search for controllers by name. The controller that says Editing in green is the controller that you are currently selecting channels and thermocouples for. To switch between controllers for different channels or thermocouples, press Edit in black to switch to that controller. When you have the cycle set up how you want it, click on the Create button. There is an optional field to fill out at the bottom called Cycle Settings. Here, you can set which type of cycle this unit will run: post-weld, preheat, percentage timer, or recorder. Clicking on the Duplicate button will create another cycle with the same channels and TCs selected from the cycle that you are duplicating. You just need to give the duplicate cycle a new name. You won't be able to see the chart of a cycle until the cycle has been added to a screen. Clicking on the plus button next to a screen will allow you to choose which cycles you want displayed on that screen. All previously created cycles will appear here. Click the Add to Screen button next to the cycle name to add it to your screen. You can also create a new cycle by clicking on the New Cycle button at the bottom. You can edit the cycle by clicking on the Edit button next to the cycle you wish to edit. You can move the cycle to the Completed tab by clicking on the Completed button. You can click the View Attachments button to view or upload any attachments linked to the cycle. You can click on the Open Report button to adjust the settings for the final report of that cycle. We will talk about reports in another video. You can click on the Change Screens button if you want to change the screen the cycle is on. Members with role level Supervisor or higher will also have the ability to remove cycles from screens. They will also have the ability to delete screens. Supervisors will be able to edit a screen by clicking on the Edit button next to the screen name. The screen's contract assignment cannot be changed, but the screen's name can be changed. Be sure to click Save at the bottom to apply any changes you've made. The info shown on this page is only a summary of your cycle. You can see more details about a screen's cycles and their channels by clicking on the View Screen button. Clicking the View Screen button will open up a new window where all of the cycles for that screen will be shown. This screen will show you the channel's temperature, set point, delta T value, percent power output, current output, and the channel's running state. If you want to disable the output of a channel but still keep it in the cycle, then you can toggle the Output Enabled button. If it is checked, the channel will put out power. If it is not checked, no power will be put out. Power limit will set the maximum allowable power output for that channel. The trim value will be added on to the set point value. When the channel is running in post-weld mode, you will also see the current step of that channel and how many minutes are left in that step. When the temperature is 15 degrees above the set point, delta T will be light red. When the temperature is 30 degrees above the set point, delta T will be dark red. When the temperature is 15 degrees below the set point, delta T will be light blue. When the temperature is 30 degrees below the set point, delta T will be dark blue. There are 3 toggle buttons at the top of each cycle. When Auto Set Point Adjust is checked, if the channels become more than 8 degrees out of sync with each other, then the channel set points will adjust and they will all be set to the lowest set point. When Auto Pause is checked, when one channel pauses, all the other channels will pause as well. When Auto Reset Timers is checked, if the over or under tolerance fault is enabled and one channel's temperatures falls out of its tolerance range, then the time left in the hold step will reset. When you click the Attachments button, a pop-up window will open where you can upload any PDF attachments you wish to include for that cycle. Make sure you hit the Save button at the bottom when you are done to apply the changes. When you click the Channel Quick Set button, a pop-up window will open. From here, you can select which channels you want to write to and then set the power limit and/or trim values for those selected channels. You can turn the channel on for a few seconds to test the channel by clicking on the Test button to the right. From here, the cycle can be started, paused, and stopped. The gear icon will allow you to edit the cycle settings. Clicking on the gear icon will open a pop-up window where you can alter the settings for a cycle. You are able to change the mode the cycle's in, the recipe name, tolerance levels, and recipe steps. Device steps are the steps that are saved to the device. Manage steps are the steps in the cycle and currently applied to the device. Your channel settings information will be displayed on the right. Here you can see the channel name and what mode the channel is in. If the mode is post-weld, you will see the ramp and soak tolerances and if all of the steps are correct. If the mode is preheat, you will see the rate and the final temperature along with the upper and lower tolerances. If the mode is percentage timer, you will see the percent. Post-weld mode will allow you to run a heat cycle with multiple steps. Preheat mode will allow you to run a heat cycle with one ramp step. The percentage timer mode will allow you to set percentage of power you want the cycle to put out. Recorder mode will disable output and just record temperatures. Make sure you click the Update button under any fields you changed to ensure the change is applied. You can also click the Update All button at the very bottom to send all the settings to the channel with one click. When you click the View Chart button, a new window will open that will display the recorded chart for that heat cycle. This is also where you will begin to make your final report. In the Completed tab, there are all of the heat cycles that have finished. This page will display the cycle name and the date and time the cycle was completed. You can view the chart of that cycle by clicking on the Enter button next to the cycle. You can edit the cycle by clicking on the Edit button next to the cycle. You can download the final report package for that cycle by clicking on the Package button. A red circle next to the Package button means there is no final report uploaded yet. A green circle next to the Package button means there is a final report available for download. You can quickly search for the cycle you're looking for by typing in the cycle name or the report ID in the search bar at the top. The report ID can be found at the top of every page of the final report and is unique for every report. Members with role level supervisor or higher will also be able to delete cycles.